Wow, this video is about to be just as discombobulated as the news we've heard for today's game, but I still want to get to it and get this quick side video out covering a game that I think looks absolutely mind-boggling. And if you like the games I've covered in the past, then I know all of you will be excited for it as well. Do you like survival horror games like the Resident Evil franchise? What about Silent Hill, The Evil Within, Devil May Cry, Parasite Eve? What about mind-bending adventures like Death Stranding, Control, and Returnal? Well, imagine jamming all of those games together. You would get Capcom's next crazy, superpower, sci-fi, multiverse traveling adventure, PRAGMATA. Though, from how things are going, it seems like we might not even be getting the game for the next while, if ever. But honestly, it has taken me long enough to get to this video in the first place, so let's get right into it. So, you might have heard of PRAGMATA already, but really, you might not have. I mean, the way I found out about this game was hopping online and seeing a report that the game had been delayed again after already being announced 2 years prior. Looking further into what PRAGMATA actually was, I got quickly excited learning that it was a new Capcom game, the same company that puts out games such as Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Then, after watching the trailers and reading into the plot, learning it was a thriller based in a bending space and reality simulation that honestly got more confusing the more I watched, and I just knew that I had to get a video out on it. Though, as I said at the very beginning, this video might get a little bit choppy here and there, and that's because I worked on this video a good bit before getting caught up by a few larger and more time-sensitive projects, though after hearing more news and that the game was possibly shelved indefinitely, I thought this was a perfect chance to return to PRAGMATA and just talk about it for a little bit. Going back to June of 2020, Capcom announced PRAGMATA during the PlayStation reveal stream, and what was originally shown was more to announce that Capcom was bringing on newer employees in hopes that younger developers would appeal more to the youth. We did not get much in the sense of what the game would be about, being able to piece together that it would most likely be similar to the Resident Evil or Death Stranding franchises gameplay-wise. From the trailer we saw though, we could get a grasp that in the sense of story, things were going to be quite different than any of the Capcom games we've seen before. We see someone in a spacesuit walking around the deserted streets of a large metropolis city. The outlines of people that once were show up as the person in the spacesuit begins investigating. As the scene shifts to a young child in the same deserted streets with the person in the spacesuit. The young child is interacting with what seems like a ghost, robot, projection, cat thing, but everything seems peaceful, ultimately reminding me of Death Stranding, before everything takes a very weird turn. The city begins shifting and distorting, almost like something out of Doctor Strange or Inception. Then the sky, or what seems to be the sky, glitches as if it's a TV screen, and a satellite then bursts through, glass shattering everywhere, showing that they are in fact not in some deserted city streets, but in some kind of simulation. Once this happens, it's like the zero-G was flipped on, and everything, including the space person and child, begin floating into the air. The space person makes it to the little kid, grabbing onto them, as whatever type of backpack they're wearing starts to fabricate something which ends up being some type of impact net that stops anything from falling into the two of them as they continue to float into the sky as if someone opened the door on an airplane, when suddenly they both fly through the same hole that the satellite had fallen through, and it becomes known that they've been in space the whole entire time. That is when the PRAGMATA title comes up and the trailer ends off with the two of them landing on the moon, looking back at Earth, making me assume that they were never anywhere on Earth in the first place. And the screen then fades to a coming 2022. And well, as most of you can probably tell with me making this video, it did not come in 2022. Sadly, after that absolute banger of a trailer and what probably felt like quite the 2-year wait for Capcom fans, 2022 passed without PRAGMATA seeing a release, and it was soon announced in a tweet from Capcom that the release would be shifting over to 2023 to give the team a little more time to work on the game, which is always okay in my opinion. Better to work longer than to release a broken game. But then halfway into 2023, in the middle of June, we got another trailer. This was the trailer that actually caught my attention and got me excited, then disappointed. In a quicker explanation for this trailer, the same space person is fighting some androids, as it seems, in the background of what seems like it could be a space station or a spaceship. In the foreground sits the child, coloring on a piece of paper. After a few seconds, the space person grabs the kid as the kid asks if they will be there soon, and the space person replies that they still have some time to go. I am assuming this is alluding to the release date still being some time away. Then to confirm that assumption, the paper left behind displayed 2022, then an arrow to 2023, both dates crossed out, then they both have an arrow pointing at a question mark, and a very sorry under all of that. The trailer then ends with an apology from Capcom as they just wish to get the game out in its best state. So with this, Pragmata was actually indefinitely shelved. Now I do want to say, that does not mean that the game is not coming out at all. I always hear a lot of misinformation when it comes to shelved games. This just means that it has no longer become priority for certain reasons, but the developers still have full intentions of getting back to it eventually. I know this sucks for numerous reasons. I mean, they already gave us a taste with those trailers, but really, this is not all a bad thing. I mean, one of my favorite games is finally getting a sequel after it was shelved for over a decade. So with how much they seem to already have figured out, I think that they will be releasing some more news with Pragmata within no time. But honestly, who knows with games these days? As I said though, this is just supposed to be a side video, and I know there was not much to it honestly, but we really don't have that much on the game yet either, and I just wanted to finally get this update out on a game that I think looks absolutely awesome, but might not even come out for a little while. I will also say though, I think that a mind-bending space Resident Evil sounds like a blast. And even if we have to wait, I would only hope that Capcom uses this time during the delay to really polish up the game, polish up the controls, the story, and just give us a great game to compete with all of the absolute garbage fire games we've been seeing recently. I guess it is getting better, but come on, what is going on with games these days? And as it is with these shorter videos, I let you all know about a new game that could be in our future and the news going on with it. So I think I'm just gonna wrap everything up there. If Pragmata, or even just another Capcom game, sounds like a great time to you all, let me know your thoughts in the comments now. And if you like these shorter news/update videos, or even if you don't, let me know that as well. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit it with a like, and if you want to see more, don't be shy to hit that little red button down there. And if you want to support more smaller videos like this, and especially the larger Friday videos, definitely check out a membership to either my YouTube or my Patreon now to not only support the channel, but to get your name at the end of every video, plus more. Don't feel pressured though, as whatever you find people already do is absolutely plenty. Lastly, if you heard any music that you enjoyed and you want to hear more, go ahead and check out BillyTheWhip.com or just Billy the Whip on any music platform now for some awesome new jams to bob your head to. And now that we're here, look out for Friday's vid. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.
Flames growing, flow water is flowing, no paddle still rowing, can't reap without sowing, ain't no cut without mowing, ain't loaning no tricks, holding my hand until I'm closing, but I'm rolling down this hill like the rocks I've been throwing, zoning out my zone, but I'm never slowing bars.